Hello, welcome back to the channel Tarot Yogi. I'm Vinit, and today we have a very special pick a card reading on Are You a Witch? What are your powers? And I'm doing this reading to promote my witchcraft course starting 27th June. And I have uploaded a video just before this explaining the witchcraft syllabus because I've been getting a lot of emails of people just asking me what can they expect in the witchcraft course. So I have uploaded a video, and I will leave a link to that video in the description box below. So you can send me an email to get more details on the witchcraft course starting 27th June. You can also do the same if you want a personal reading from me, and please do subscribe. I'm seeing a lot of you are not subscribing, so please do that on my behalf. Thank you for liking, for sharing, and thank you so much for the donations. I always forget. Thank you so much for all your love and support. It's really appreciated. I also want to say I uploaded a reading somewhat in 2023. I will leave a link to that reading also in the description box below. It is one of the Tarot Yogi originals that I have done, and I think it's titled Are You a Mage, Witch, Alchemist? Something like that. I will leave a link to that reading also. You can definitely check that out. You can definitely check that reading out also. Now let's move forward to the reading. We have 3 piles to choose from. Pile number 1, we have our Tarot of the Witch's Garden. Pile number 2, we have a new deck. We have the Tabula Mundi Tarot. And pile number 3, we have our Goetia Tarot. Tarot of the Demons. So take a minute, see what pile is being called to you intuitively. The description box below will have the timestamp for your pile. And again, these are general readings, so please take what resonates, leave the rest. And if you like my style of reading, please do like, share, subscribe. And you can send me an email if you want a personal reading, if you want to join the course, and I will see you guys in your reading. Thank you. Hello, pile number 1. If you chose Tarot of the Witch's Garden, this is your reading on Are You a Witch? What are your powers? And this is a reading that I'm doing to promote my witchcraft course starting on 27th June. And I have uploaded a video before this explaining the syllabus of the witchcraft course. So if you're interested in learning witchcraft from me, you can send me an email to get more details. And you can do the same if you want a personal reading from me. And please like, share, subscribe. I'm seeing a lot of y'all are not subscribing, so please subscribe. And now let's jump into the reading on Are You a Witch? What are your powers? And I don't know. Things have been a little chaotic today, and the cards are also falling all over. So you could be my chaos witches, pile number 1. Let's see. Okay, pile number 1, we have 5 of Swords, the Sun, 8 of Swords, 3 of Pentacles, Ace of Cups, 8 of Cups, the Temperance, 8 of Pentacles, and 3 of Wands. Are you a witch? Definitely. You could be a chaos witch. But I'm seeing a very mercurial witch. You could be very good with words. You could be very good at creating your reality with your words. You could really be into spells or mantras. Definitely you're giving me that kind of an energy. And you're definitely good at transmuting, alchemizing. You're good at sort of pouring yourself back after really devastating situations. And I do feel these are the kind of situations that have helped you sort of awaken to your witchy power. I would say your magic is more on the mental plane and the emotional plane. And you're very good at combining the mental and the emotional plane. And if you're looking at this Kabbalistically, I would say you're really in the astral, and you know how to balance your Netzach with your Hod. So you're able to really create what you want on the 9th pillar, in the middle pillar on the Tree of Life, which is Yesod and the Moon. You're very balanced in your emotions. You know how to regulate your own emotions very, very well, and this makes you even a very powerful love witch, I want to say. And since we're using Tarot of the Witch's Garden, I would also say, you could be a green witch. You could work with plants very much. You could also work with the sun. We have the sun card over here. I feel eclipses are going to be very, very important for you. And I do think they will sort of amp up your energy. So pay attention to the eclipse cycle and see how that is affecting you, because it is definitely affecting your witchy powers. You could work in the day, you could work in the night. I think you're very balanced in your darkness and your lightness. But there is something very solar about your energy, definitely. I think the trick to your magic, particularly pile number 1, is we have the 8 of Pentacles. So repetition is very, very important. Whatever you repeat amplifies and magnifies, especially whatever you're trying to create. So if you're doing a spell, you need to maybe do it every day. If you're doing mantras, your mantra practice has to be multiple times per day. The more you build up, the more power you will be able to generate and get what you want over here. So manifesting is very easy for you. And I think you're also very good at listening. You're very good at listening to what is being told to you, what is being said to you. You're very good at collaborating with your spirit guides. You're very good on your own as well. You're giving a bit of the solitary witch energy. And again, with the 5 of Swords, I do feel, I do think you've tried to be in groups of people, but I think, it has failed. And again, I do feel you have been pushed maybe to follow your own path. Like you don't have a choice. I do feel your spirit guides are sort of doing this to you. So you awaken to your true power, and I think your true power lies in being separate from, the hive mind, so to speak, right? You're meant to be very much on your own. Not in a way where you will be alone, but you sort of walking in your power, and you sort of walking alone will help you get what you want in the most karmically balanced way, because there is a lot that you will achieve in this life, but I do think you're sort of like a one-man show, pile number 1. So you don't necessarily need a lot of people to do your practice. I think you would be able to do your practice on your own. And what I have seen is, whether people do witchcraft or tantra, it's very few people who can really do their practices on their own. People need covens, people need gurus, right? People need a sort of infrastructure, even in the spiritual realm, where your unseen guides are your structure. And I'm not saying it's not good to have a coven or a guru, because I'm sort of offering that. I'm just saying that you can just cut through the white noise and get to the point, because you're so meticulous, and you're so mercurial when it comes to retrieving information for yourself. I'm also getting shape-shifting energy. You could shape-shift into birds, especially, that I'm getting over here. I'm hearing Skinwalker Lugao. So maybe that is some practice that you resonate with. And these are like Caribbean practices, I think. So maybe the kind of practice that would be best for you as a witch would be to look at your own folk magic, where you come from. Maybe you're Slavic. Maybe you need to look into your Slavic folklore. There is a lot there. Maybe you're Indian. I'm also getting that. So you really have to look into tantric practices, which are more related to magic. Definitely Shakta Tantra for you, I would also say. I do feel you will have a familiar very, very soon if you don't already have one. I think your familiar will come and show up at the right time when you really, really need that support. So look for the signs. They're all around you. They will guide you. And I do think you're going to start the next phase of your initiation. So it does seem sort of major. And you will be walking away from a lot of things that haven't really served you. You're going to be walking away from a lot of things that haven't really gone your way. And you will have the freedom and the clarity and the vision you need to sort of move forward over here. There's an emphasis for you to create something very physical with your witchy abilities. I think a lot of y'all could even sell witchy products, whether it be crystals or whether you make jewelry or you sell your own spells, whatever it is, whatever your service is, try to put it into something material and concrete. Even if you're a divination witch, which I do think a lot of y'all are here, try to use your gifts in a very practical, earthly way. Because your spiritual gifts will make you a lot of money in this lifetime. It is supposed to. You are born with a certain amount of spirituality within you, from your past life that you have sort of gained and earned. And I was just yawning, so I do think maybe if there's a lot of confusion and if you're not really able to listen to your intuition, pay attention to your dreams because your higher self is definitely speaking to you through your dreams. Keep a dream journal if you can. I know if it might seem like too much of a commitment, maybe just keep a dream journal on your phone, on your notes app. But try to record your dreams because they're symbolically telling you what is to come and what is the best choice and option for you to take. So it's really imperative that you do listen to this and let it sort of take you where it needs to. Again, I'm seeing a lot of this creative energy. I do think the most successful way for you to even practice your craft is, like I said, to create something in the tangible, right? To create something like a pentacle. And what is a pentacle, right? It is the combination of air, water, and fire being manifested into one concrete object. So understand working with the elements a little, work with the elements more, get more into the metaphysics of how the elements work and how you can sort of bring it more consciously into your practice because it will definitely help you grow in your craft. And like I said, the more you create something tangible, whether you're making a YouTube video, for example, like I am, or you're creating a sigil for someone, those are the kind of magics that you need to be into. Something concrete, maybe even talisman making. I'm also seeing that you could create protective charms for people. You could create healing charms for people. You could even do some voodoo over here. I'm getting a bit of this voodoo energy and it's really sad. I think people have a very wrong idea of what voodoo is. And yes, it can be used to harm, but you can also use it to heal. And people have just sort of forgotten the lost heritage, right? So understand that. Try to study and try to really see things for yourself, Do your spiritual studies. If you're being called to witchcraft, study it. If you're being called to tantra, study it even more. There's nothing to fear over here. What you're coming to terms with is your true nature and understanding your true nature over here. And how sort of understanding your true nature is, half the battle won, so to speak. I'm paying attention to the lotuses all of a sudden now, and lotuses are very symbolic of your intuition. So like I said, pay attention to your intuition. And another symbolism for the lotuses is a sense of immortality, right? So these are the powers that have always pre-existed within you, and for whatever, due to karmic reasons, due to your own consciousness not being at the level that it is now, you couldn't see these things for yourself before. You couldn't experience these powers for yourself before. And I do think you are sort of karmically nerfed to not experience the whole scope of your power, because you could even misuse it, right? And the more power you gain, the more you have to, prove the purity of your character, so to speak. And it's not always easy to do, right? We can all fall into morally gray areas. So I feel that itself is a test for you over here, by number one. I do think you're supposed to have two more people in your coven. I do see a coven of three witches. So I don't think you will have to be alone forever. But I do think your coven members are going to be equals to you. It's not going to be a teacher-student kind of a relationship. You all will be, co-workers. It's all going to be an equal footing. So, if you're desperate to find your community right now, it's okay. At the right time, you will find your people. And you can always join my course. You're very, very welcome. I feel your magic is also in the stress and the tension of things. You're very good at redirecting very intense, pressured energy into the very favorable kind of outcomes that you want. I think you're very scared of your own powers because you don't always realize that it's sort of your own doing, even if it is, a negative sort of an outcome that you might create for yourself. And it's very interesting. I just had a client today, and just anonymously, my client had an issue with a lot of panic attacks, and even my client sort of gave me a warning to not say something bad even if I see it. So I do think you sort of are like that, but with yourself. It's almost like, your own abilities have been hidden from you, so you wouldn't be able to use them. And I do feel there's a karmic overtone over here. And deep down, I think you know the truth. I think you have been lying to yourself. So the more you stop lying to yourself, and the more you, like I said, come to terms with who you are, I think that's your key to liberation, and also a lot of unlimited power that you want. Because I can feel your ambition over here. By number one, I won't lie. I see how far you want to go. And I would say it is possible for you to go that far. And you have to utilize all the tools that are available to you. And I do think you will be able to do that. The more you keep proving your purity of character, because it all does come down to that. And the witchcraft saying, to be the most powerful witch, you have to sacrifice the thing you love the most. So what are you willing to sacrifice, by number one? I do think you're very, very, very close to an initiation. Shuffle some Oracle. I'm using the Oracle of Black Enchantment by Patrick Valenza. People keep asking me about this, hence I'm mentioning. What type of a witch is file number one? What are their powers? Wow, we have card number 32, card number 50, and we have card number 14. You could very much speak to the dead. You have mediumship abilities, and I do feel this is not your first life, definitely. I do think you are an old soul. That's why a lot of your quests in this lifetime is just going to be, you sort of re-remembering and re-practicing your abilities and your gifts and coming back to your full power. So you will have a much bigger learning curve than most witches. So if things are taking a little longer for you, you're still learning faster than most people. And you will be able to learn multiple skills. Whereas it takes people a lifetime to perfectly develop a skill. But I think by the end of this life, you will have at least 3 perfectly developed skills. Witchy skills, of course. But you're very connected to the dead. Pile number 1. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. You have more access than you realize, and I do think you need to practice, right? If you don't practice, how will you even know if you are good at it? So I would say just be open. Just be open to the other side, because I do feel there are a lot of even ancestral messages wanting to come through to you. I do think your ancestors are also trying to help you awaken to your witchy abilities. Life is not supposed to be difficult for you, not this life. You are an old soul, so your life is difficult because you're still learning the great lessons that you need to in order to really master this lifetime. A lot of y'all could have a black cat familiar. Or right now you're sort of being called to embody the more femme fatale like black cat energy. I would say that, yes. Again, I'm seeing the moon. So pay attention to the moon cycles, work with them. Create under it. Also create under the sun. Like I said, I think you're very balanced in your sun and your moon, which is very beautiful and honestly very difficult to achieve. So it's already telling me about a great level of mastery that you've achieved, and you sort of have to keep going upwards and you have to keep ascending, and this is the life for that. You're very good at even pulling things from under the surface, the things that even people are trying to hide. So I would say, you're going to be a very multidisciplinary kind of witch. You could be a divination witch and you could do spells. You're very eclectic as a witch. So don't even limit yourself to one thing. I think learn multiple things, and given your very specific circumstance, I think you will be able to master multiple things. It's not easy. Trust me, it takes one whole lifetime to perfectly master one skill. So a lot of y'all are also going to end up being teachers very, very soon on your path, even if you don't see it coming. Anything else? Yeah, that's all I have for pile number 1. Again, it's a general reading, so please take what resonates, leave the rest. And if you like my style of reading, please like the video, share, subscribe, comment, share it with your friends, please subscribe. And if you are interested in learning witchcraft from me, you're very, very welcome, my dear witchlings and wizards. My course starts 27th June, so you can send me an email to get more details, and you can do the same if you want a personal reading from me. And I have just uploaded a video before this. I will also leave a link for that video in the description box below about the witchcraft course syllabus, so you can check that out. And yeah, hoping to see you in my witchcraft course. Thank you. Hello, pile number 2. If you chose my new tarot deck, the Tabula Mundi Tarot, this is your reading on Are You a Witch? What are your powers? And this is a reading to promote my witchcraft course happening 27th of June. So if you are interested in learning witchcraft from me, you can definitely send me an email to get more details. And I have uploaded a video just before this, which is about discussing the syllabus of the witchcraft course as to what you can expect in the course. And you can also send me an email to get a personal reading. Now let's move forward to the reading on Are You a Witch? What are your powers? Also, please subscribe. I'm seeing a lot of y'all are not subscribing, so asking you really sweetly to subscribe. Okay, pile number 2, we have 3 of Swords, we have 4 of Discs, the Hangman, Decans of Taurus, we have the Priestess, which is the High Priestess, we have 4 of Swords, 6 of Discs, the Universe, and we have the Sun card. We have the Sun card in pile number 1 as well. You might have some messages there. You might want to check it out. What kind of a witch are you? Are you a witch? You're definitely a witch. I would say you're a very Taurian witch. We have the decans of Taurus, and just look at all the pomegranates. Even 6 of discs is Moon in Taurus, and Moon is exalted in Taurus. The reason Moon is exalted in Taurus is Moon can only balance itself by changing every day, and Taurus being the most fixed of all the fixed signs, it gets the permanence it needs to stabilize itself. So you're very, very connected to the moon cycles. You could very much work in the night energy. And look at all the pomegranates. We have 3 pomegranate cards. That's not a coincidence. And I was getting this very Venusian energy. Pile number 2, you are very connected to the underworld. You are. And again, I wouldn't say you're just connected to the underworld, you're also connected to the higher realms. Because pomegranate signifies the underworld, but it also signifies the heavens to me. So you have this ability to go down when you need to, and you can go up when you need to on the tree. You have this very shamanistic way of, destroying yourself and then ascending and then coming back and sharing your gifts to again go through the cycle of descending and ascending and coming back to yourself more than you ever have before. So you have this very strong healing energy, but you're very good at manipulating matter itself. You're very Saturnian. You're giving me very strong Chronos energy. And I'm seeing a lot of Saturn here. Universe is a Saturn card. In the decans of Taurus, I'm seeing Saturn as the 3rd decan over here. 3 of Swords is Libra in Saturn. So you're very karmic. Did you see that? You're very karmic, and you have the ability to eclipse no matter how much powerful your opponent is. You can just eclipse that and still get your way. And I'm also getting a bit of this love witch energy with the 3 of Swords. You're very good with the Venusian things. You could have a very strong Venus either in Libra, Taurus, or exalted in Pisces in the 2nd house, 7th house, or the 12th house. And let's not forget, Venus is the queen of the witchcraft, right? It is Venus who rules over witchy things. So love, money, all that's your area of expertise. Glamour magic, love magic. And pomegranates are used in a lot of love spells, and we use pomegranates as a substitute for blood and a substitute for heart. So maybe that's the kind of magic you're really into. We also have the High Priestess in the center of the reading, So I would say your magic is very divine itself. It is coming to you from a very high place. It is coming to you from across the abyss, So it's a very divine thing coming to you. You're not just, even if you're reading something in a book, you're being guided to read that, and you create ripples around you. Pile number 2, I think that's the best way I can say it, I'm getting a bit of this Wanda energy, where she controls the whole city, right? She's that powerful, and your force field is that powerful. It does spread around you, and it does sort of hypnotize and magnetize everyone around you in a way where it even cuts out their own toxicity. Because I feel very light, and I feel very free, and I feel very calm in your energy. And I do think you have this very intoxicating effect. You are like this poisonous flower. I'm getting the datura in my mind, and it's a very bewitching flower. I will try to add an image here, but go look up that plant. You have that very datura like energy, and again it's a very nocturnal energy. So I think you need to be more in touch with your witchy self, because it does exist. And I do think you're using your witchy self in a very unconscious way, and I think the more conscious you make this, the more powerful and the more potent your magic and your witchcraft will be over here. And I would say you need to maybe learn to work with the night a bit more, don't try to force yourself to do things in the day. I think you just need to slow down and really observe your energy levels. See when your energy levels are peaking, because I do think your energy levels peak at night. They don't peak in the day. And again, working with the Saturn energy. Again, I'm really seeing this strong Saturn energy for you. So creating change in the material world is not difficult for you at all. You're very good at that, and I do think you have a purity of character to be able to pull off this kind of magic and witchcraft. I don't think it is very easy. You're definitely into planetary magic. I think planetary magic would be your thing, would be your forte. You need to definitely look into working at the planetary hours and really get into the whole astrological magical systems. You can also look at the three books of occult philosophy and the Picatrix. Look at all the first written historical, well, kind of the first written historical texts that we have, like the books I just mentioned. I think you will be very good at the traditional kind of medieval alchemistic Islamic witchcraft. By number two, I do sense you have a very you're inherently very witchy. I don't even think you always realize this, but you're always seeking the truth, and you're always seeking knowledge for the sake of knowledge, and you understand that it takes sacrifices, and you make your sacrifices. The hangman reminds me of Odin, where he had to hang himself on the tree for, I think, 9 days and 9 nights, and he had to sacrifice an eye to get knowledge of the runes. So you have that very Odin like energy to you, and if you're stuck in your magical practice, in your witchy practice, make a sacrifice and just see the magic work for you. You know. I think the more you sacrifice your own ego, particularly, I think if you're able to sacrifice your own ego and your own mind the most, you will truly be unstoppable. You will be one of the most powerful witches, wizards, to ever walk the earth. I'm being very serious. I see a lot of y'all even pioneering and creating your own ways and systems of magic and witchcraft. And it's very interesting, for your pile particularly, I'm saying magic and witchcraft. So there's something about that here as well. Maybe you're not just into witchcraft, maybe you're also into magic. And I'm getting planetary, astrological, even magic of the fixed stars. You need to work with the celestial intelligences. You need to look at the fixed stars. You need to try to learn their names, try to learn the angelic names, even the demonic names. Really look up at the sky. I think that's the kind of magic you will really be good at. But again, I'm getting this Venus Saturn heavy, getting very heavy Venus Saturn energy, even Capricorn and Taurus. So your magic is very earthy. Your magic is supposed to be earthbound. Like I said, you will be able to create changes in the material world. And it's the most difficult thing to do, right? But you have the stuff and you have the potential for it. You'll be extremely successful in this, I feel. And I do say this to all my students, and I will give you the advice for free over here. So eat pomegranates. I will tell you a lot. Just start eating pomegranates every day, and see the difference for yourself. Connect to the energy of pomegranates. There is something for you there. And since I'm seeing so many pomegranates, I would also say blood magic. I think blood magic would be something you would be good at. It would again come to you sort of naturally. So maybe look into that as well. And you know, the dog's barking, I'm not annoyed, firstly, for the first time, for now at least, and it sort of reminds me of Cerberus, you know, the three-headed dog that guards the gates to the underworld. So you do have a connection there, and I do feel there are certain things you have to go and retrieve about yourself that only you can. Certain missing pieces of information that are needed, and you will be able to sort of require this, you know, for your own advancement, to sort of even get your own answers about why things are the way they are, you know, certain past life stuff. I do think that will help. So maybe doing counterintuitive things is going to be more beneficial. Maybe just going inwards and not doing a lot right now to get certain answers is what you need to do, instead of resisting and just, you know, using brute force. I don't think right now is the time for you to use your brute force. I think there are witchier ways to get what you want, you know. And I feel whatever you're looking for is hidden in plain sight. You just have to get calm enough and still enough to listen and look at it, because it's sort of in front of you, I feel, and you know, you're trying to grasp it and you're almost able to, and it still seems out of your reach. So you're very, very close to your mastery. And since we have Four of Swords and the Hangman and the Sun card, pile number 2, another free advice I would like to give you is do yoga, meditate, get into the traditional practices. And I always tell my clients and students, you know, best to learn locally from someone who is around you, who will really perfect your posture and really help you, you know, get into proper practice. So look for a local teacher that will really get you into it. You have to move the body, you have to do breath work. You have to learn to build your energetic body, pile number 2. I do think you have this great potential and you have all this magic and witchcraft within you. But if your, you know, if your vessel is not clean enough, powerful enough, pure enough, it cannot contain the energy that you're trying to invoke. So I do think your lower chakras are not as balanced as your higher chakras, and you cannot live like that. It will lead to a lot of sickness. So pay more attention to being more grounded. Walk barefoot on grass. It's summer most of the places. No excuse. Walk barefoot on grass. Like I said, do yoga, meditate, get into that flow, and recenter yourself, because there has to be more self-awareness. And it is through your self-awareness that, and knowing what you truly want, you will be able to again materialize it in a very concrete, permanent, stable way, you know, in a very Saturnian way, right? When Saturn gives results, the permanent sort of results, you know, they don't budge for a long time. So even if you feel your certain blessings are delayed, it's fine, you know. When they come, they will be permanent. So maybe right now there are more things asked of you, you know, there are better things for you to do. And you have to keep yourself in this moving, active sort of an energy, because it is through your own personal enlightenment that you will also, you know, feed your own energetic body in the way that you need to really build it up, you know, to be able to travel further on, you know, in the astral and into the causal realm. I do think even your spiritual purpose has a lot to do with the materiality and learning how to balance that in this lifetime, you know. It's very important for you to stick to your own personal ethical moral code, because you will be tested. Your character will be tested. And trust me, you know, your character is tested over and over again. So, and that's a good sign. That means, you know, you are more in alignment and you're getting more access to your gifts and abilities, and you're also doing what you're supposed to be doing. Right? But just the way we have to sort of renew certain licenses over a few years, right? It's sort of like that. So you will be doing big things by number two. I will definitely say that. And you have everything. You have the clairvoyance. You're great at materializing your desires into the world. You're good at hitting your targets, and I do feel there are a lot of illusions right now, and maybe a more spiritual point of view will help you get the clarity that you really need right now. I would say very connected to water and earth. I think those are your elements, and working with those elements in your magic majorly is going to help you a lot. And it's interesting, the ending of the reading is the Sun card, and it starts with Saturn. So you're good with the Saturnian forces, and you're good with the solar forces. So again, it's a great mastery. It's a great level of achievement to be, Saturnian and solar, because we know Saturn and Sun don't get along, right? I think you either have a really good relationship with your father, or even if your father was there, maybe he was absent, or maybe he was just completely absent, Sun and Saturn is telling me something about your father figure. And I do think you have certain blocks with your father that is hindering you on your magical, spiritual, witchy journey, So I do think you have to heal that. But you have everything within you, you don't really have to look outside to get what you want, I think you know this by number two. Shuffle some oracle. I'm using the Oracle of Black Enchantment by Patrick Valenza. Mentioning it because people keep asking me, what deck is this? Pile number two is Powers. Okay, pile number two, we have card number 18 and card number 26. And card number 18 looks a lot like the Four of Discs in the Thoth Tarot and even the Tabula Mundi. It's giving moat, it's giving, you're sort of like a kingdom unto yourself. I'm seeing Attack on the Titans now, so. You're very fluid. I'm getting a very Piscean kind of an energy. And you need to understand, you do have a very dualistic nature to you in a very outwardly sense. So you could be extremely polarizing, people could love you or people could hate you, Either way, people are fans, and like I said, you don't need a lot of people around you to get your work done, and that's a blessing, and you are like a cat, I think that's the best way I can say it, and I mean this in the most positive way. I love cats, you have a bit of this feline energy, and it's beneficial for you in this lifetime to be more in your feline energy, and to have your interests first. In fact, I think you need to be a little less selfless, and I think you need to be a little more selfish in this lifetime. You do have this sacrificial lamb nature to you. I do feel this very strong Piscean energy, so it's important to preserve yourself, and also maybe just accept the fact that, you being you, maybe you cannot have a lot of friends, and you will not be able to really relate to people on a mass scale, and you're not really missing out, they are, and these are just symptoms of spiritual ascension, whether we like it or not, right? It's to ascend is to be extremely isolated, and it's better for you right now, than to mingle with people that are not really for you, You have to be up on your tower, practicing your witchcraft, practicing your magic, perfecting your craft. I'm seeing a wizard up in his tower with his magic books. You're different than most people, pile number two, and that's not a bad thing. And that's your superpower. That's what you're here to do. You're not here to be like everyone else. And a cat can't be friends with a bird. You are the cat. And let's face it, cats are more precise at hunting than most birds. Maybe not as precise as my owls, but cats take down a lot of birds too. So get used to your power. Get used to the fact that people will fear you, whether you like it or not. And trust me, sooner or later you will start enjoying it. Know yourself, know thyself, right? Know your true nature. And also understand that not everyone knows who they are. But because you know who you are, you'll never really get into trouble. You're very sharp, I don't feel I have to even say a lot with you, I think you just get it. So keep doing your thing, because you are in a league of your own, and a lot of talent. And I've seen this, when you're talented in every aspect, you usually won't have a lot of support around you. It's just how it is, Any other messages? Yeah, that's all I have for pile number 2 is against a general reading. So please take what resonates, leave the rest. And if you like my style of reading, please like the video, share, subscribe, comment. I'm seeing a lot of y'all are not subscribing, so please subscribe, asking you really sweetly to do so. And you can hit me up on my email if you want to learn witchcraft from me. I have put the syllabus video out just before this, so you can definitely hit me up, and you can do the same if you want a personal reading, and I will see you guys in your next reading. Thank you. Hello, pile number 3. If you chose the Goisha Tarot, this is your reading on Are You a Witch? What are your powers? And I'm doing this reading to promote my witchcraft course starting 27th June. So if you're interested in learning witchcraft from me, you can send me an email to get more details, and you can do the same if you want a personal reading. And I have uploaded a video just before this. I will link it in the description box below about what you can expect in my witchcraft course, like a syllabus video. So you can definitely check that out if you are genuinely interested in learning witchcraft from me. Also, please subscribe, like, share. Seeing a lot of y'all are not subscribing, so asking you really sweetly to subscribe. And now let's jump into the reading on Are You a Witch? And what are your powers? Okay, cards want to jump. Okay, pile number 3, we have Arcanum 15, the Devil. We have Ace of Cups, 5 of Swords. We have 8 of Cups, Ace of Wands, 2 of Pentacles, Justice, 7 of Pentacles, and we have Judgment. You did choose the Goisha Tarot, so let's start there. I want you to go and check your Vedic astrology. I want you to see what nakshatra placement are you born under, because I think a lot of y'all could be born under the Asurgan Nakshatra, which is, the grouping of the Titans. And there are certain nakshatras that belong to the Titans, which is Kritika, Shlesha, Tanishta, Maga, and I think there are a few more. You could be born under those. I think you've always been witchy as a kid. I think you've always been psychic as a kid. I think you've always seen things, heard things that most people don't see here. You have always been tuned to the unseen forces and the realms, and there's a deeper reason for it. Like I said, you could be born under the Asurkan, and why I'm saying this is certain people are born with certain aptitudes, and this is very valid in witchcraft and magic too, even Tantra. Certain people are meant to work with dark energies, and it's not a bad thing necessarily. And I do think you are meant to work with the dark energies. I do feel that. I do think the source of your power comes from the darkness, it doesn't come from the light. The reading starts with the devil, and the devil in this deck is Lucifer, the morning star, which is again Venusian energy. So you're more connected to the underworld than you know. I think a lot of y'all are aware, but I think a lot of y'all are not, and a lot of y'all are maybe coming to terms with it. And this doesn't make you a bad person. Let me tell you that. This doesn't make you a bad person at all. In fact, I would say you have a heart of gold than most humans. And since I said that, I don't think you're exactly human either. I mean, sure, you are in your human form right now, but it's just that it's a form for you. And I do think this life for you particularly has been all about just understanding and realizing who you are and your own nature. And I do think you have this tremendous ability to go very deep into the darkness and to be able to see in it. So you're very good at making deep unconscious realms very conscious for yourself and for others. And I think you're doing this very unconsciously. Your powers are very, very deep. The people you come across, the lives are changed forever. And you're meant to have this. You're meant to have this effect on people. Pile number 3, you're something else, And I think that's what you truly have to just accept and be at peace with, and know that there is nothing wrong with you, Look at your birth chart, you will find a lot of information there, I feel. You are the vessel for higher and lower energies, I will say that. And not your first life doing this, so you're very much in tune with these kind of energies. I think the more you are aware, the more you realize, the more you know, the more you study. I think a lot of y'all want material things. I'm just being very honest. I'm just seeing that over here. I am seeing a bit of this lack. Maybe you're not earning enough. Maybe a lot of y'all don't have jobs. Maybe a lot of y'all don't have the job you want. Whatever you want, you will be able to achieve it. How do I say this? You are on a different league. And I'm not just saying that so it can get to your head. I'm just saying you have greater levels of difficulty than most people around you, It's just what it is. And achievements for most people is not going to be what achievements for you are. You would be able to achieve material things very, very easily, even if you don't feel that way right now. Because what you're chasing is a symptom, and you're not going to the core. You're extremely inherently witchy and magical. You do carry this otherworldly magic within you. So I do think, you're a true pioneer, I think the kind of witchcraft and magic you're doing, the kind of tantra also you're doing over here, it's never been done or seen, or no one has really done it the way you do it, you know. You're getting your information from other realms, and that's not a bad thing. Like I said, the more you know yourself, the better it is, you know. I do think there is certain things that are being hidden from you on purpose. I do think there are restrictions, so don't resist. Maybe there are just certain karmic lessons you have to get through over with time, right? Very Saturnian things for you over here, but what I want to say is pile number 3. Your soul already knows everything. Yours especially. You're very connected to the other realms. You're getting visions, downloads all the time. I also feel your clairvoyant audience is really shooting up right now, and it can honestly feel very, very scary, right? So ground your energy more. Try to learn to also be more in your body. Because I do think this is, I wouldn't say it's weakening your vessel, it is taking its toll. Hmm. Don't run after the material things. Run after the excellence, run after the knowledge, run after the things that are, you know, like this inner thirst that you have within yourself that you cannot quench. Whether you want to learn something, you want to do something, chase that instead of chasing stability. Try to connect to your higher self. Look into that. I think that will really, really help you. I do think your life circumstances, being as difficult as they are, it is sort of the soil you need, the fertilization you need to really propel yourself on your journey over here. And I think your strength lies in your ability to, you know, travel vast distances with great stamina. That's what I'm getting with all these, you know, horse-like figures, because we have 3 horses on the 8 of Cups, 2 of Pentacles, and the 5 of Swords card. So there's a lot of movement promised for you in this lifetime. Like I said, if you chase the excellence, the money will come. But if you chase the money, you won't get the money, and you will not get to becoming the best at what you're supposed to be doing. This is going to be a lifetime for you of personal mastery. You're going to really master the self, and you're going to make peace with your karmic heritage and even create more spiritual, positive kind of karma that is required for you to transcend even further. So what I would say is you are a very ancient soul who has really forgotten. And I do think the very rough spiritual life experiences, or just mundane life experiences even, all of that was meant to sort of rock your world, to throw you into multiple awakenings. So your spiritual path has been very self-initiated, whether you've liked it or not, you know. And my heart really, really goes out to you, pile number 3. I know it can be very rough, and I don't think you've always had teachers or you've always had people to look up to. I don't even think you've had good role models to start with. But what is being forged out of you is all that. You are going to be all those things to a lot of people in the future. I feel like I'm speaking to some real spiritual shamans, teachers, medicine women, witches. You will be able to again bring back knowledge that has been lost. You know. I think there has to be more focus on perfection of the self. I do think maybe you're being triggered more than ever right now. So use your triggers. Your triggers are showing you where the healing is required, what needs to, what you have to sort of take care of. So this is a very active time in your witchy life. I would say you have a lot to do. And I think the most simple definition of a witch is someone who does the witchcraft. It's in the doing that you become anything, right? So more emphasis on the doing and not feeling bad at all for who you are, what you have been through, where you come from, your past life, all of that. I do sense there's a lot of guilt, shame, and I think it's blocking you. I think it's blocking your magical, witchy greatness. You're really, really powerful, pile number 3, and I do think you have been nerfed, and all of this is only happening so you realize who you truly are. I think that's the best way I can say it. I feel like I'm repeating myself now, but you have the ability to fly really high into the sky, but you also have the ability to go very deep into the dark waters. You can become a bird, you can become a fish. There's something very shapeshifty about your energy. And you're going to use this even more and more further, I feel. You could be very connected to the element of water and the element of fire. You do, like I said, you carry this very strong duality within you, and you could be good with opposite elements, like I said, fire and water. But I think the more you focus on, like I said, perfection of the self, of the body, of the mind, and even going inwards and really looking at those parts of yourself that you have to bring into your own consciousness. I think whatever you want will come to you, because I do think you particularly, I don't think you have guardian angels. I do think you have guardian demons, pile number 3, and they're just waiting for your command, So it's your wish, it's your decision to make. You could either, it could either go two ways. You could really get into it and you could really find out who you are, or I have sadly seen a lot of people who do shut down when they realize this, and they run the opposite direction and they don't finish their spiritual work. So which one are you going to be? I think only you can decide for yourself. And this is not an easy choice to make, because either way your life will be changed. But I do feel a lot of y'all will choose to do what feels right in your heart. And personally, what I would say is, if you do run from your self and your abilities and who you are, you're probably just taking the longer road to self-realization. So it's not technically the wrong road, you know. It's just, do you think you're ready? Because your demons think you're ready, you know. You could be more active at the nighttime. Or you need to be more active at the nighttime. Connect to the night. There's certain things that you can only know at night. Certain kind of knowledge that can be only gained in the guise of the darkness. So go out. Try to really connect. If you cannot go out, just turn off all the lights, maybe just have a dim lit candle or something. And let the answers come to you, given that you stay still enough. Whatever you're seeking is within you. You know, there isn't much outside for you at this point in your life. And I think you know that, and I think it frustrates you. Let's shuffle some oracle. What are pile number 3's power? Wow, pile number 3, we have card number 16, card number 15, and card number 4. Card number 15 is again Lucifer in this deck, so we have double Lucifer. I'm getting goosebumps, I'm not gonna lie. You know you have a darkness about you, pile number 3, and if you don't use it, it will sort of eat you up. And this is karmic, this is what is supposed to happen. Don't run from yourself. You will be given a chance to, right your wrongs if that's how you feel. You are given here a chance of redemption, and I do think a lot of bad things have happened with you, especially in the past life, because you've always been witchy. I think you've always had a witchy life. You know, I as far as I can see in your past lives, I feel you've played the role of the medicine woman, the witch, the healer, the shaman. You know, these different hats. You've worn them all. Temple priestess, priest, alchemist. You've really done it all, and you have been executed for it. You have been punished for it. So there's a part of you that is afraid. But think of it. You know, this is high key the most coolest time, because at least in terms of occult knowledge, because so much knowledge is out there. If you really want to search it, you will find it, you know. And historically, yeah, there are still witch hunts, but it's not as bad as it used to be, you know. So I do feel you're dealing with that kind of collective trauma of hiding who you are, hiding from yourself, and as a result punishing yourself, you know, where you could be the god or the goddess on walking this earth, you know. So you can make that choice for yourself again, which way you want to go. Yeah, I think Spirit is asking me to stop here. I feel you, pile number 3. Know that either way you'll be making the right choice, you know. And you're always welcome to join my witchcraft course. Yeah. That's all I have for pile number 3's. Again, it's a general reading, so please take what resonates, leave the rest. And if you like my style of reading, please like the video, share, subscribe, comment. I'm seeing a lot of you are not subscribing, so asking you really, really sweetly to please subscribe. And yes, my witchcraft course starts 27th June, so if you're interested, sign up. You can also send me an email if you want a personal reading, and I will see you guys in your next reading. Thank you.